40. Acculturation. The easier your job, the more you got paid. John had suspected this for many years, and here's the proof, pulling down $500 an hour to sit in an afternoon sun on top of an LA office tower. He was wearing a suit and shades, reclining on a deck chair, while a light breeze blew in from the bay. John thought he might have found the perfect job. "Hey," he said to the foreman, "I've got an inventory sheet. None of this stuff had better go missing." The foreman looked at him. He was not so relaxed. He was getting paid much less than John and doing much harder work. "Nothing's going to get missing." "It better not." He closed his eyes and enjoyed the sun. He was building a nice town out here. "Nothing's going missing," the foreman repeated. He hesitated. "I don't know your business, but you want these things pointing north, right? So, well, north is downtown. You're going to end up with a bunch of missiles pointing at other office towers. If you're worried about security, you're right," John said. "You don't know my business." After a while, the foreman went away. John folded his hands on his chest and closed his eyes. Tomorrow, he thought, he would bring a couple of beers. His new title was U.S. Alliance Liaison. He didn't know exactly what that meant. It was something to do with making sure Nike was doing part for the team, and the team was doing its part for Nike. Last night, he met liaisons for General Motors, Microsoft, and Johnson & Johnson. It was amazing to think they were all on the same side. What they could do with all those marketing budgets working together. He and Gregory met in a bar on Sunset every night, or almost every night. When Gregory didn't show, John downed scotches and picked up women, but mostly Gregory showed. John was into his third drink and eyeing a girl with curly brown hair when Gregory sat down. "John, hey buddy, you get the installation done?" John drained his glass. "Half of it. We're putting the rest in tomorrow. Get someone else to do it. You're going to London." "What's there?" "Our interests. You'll get more information when you arrive." "All right," John said, but he was annoyed. London would not be 80 degrees with a light breeze. London would not provide opportunities to network with the type of people he wanted to meet. You'll be working with the Shell liaison. You'll do what he tells you, understood? "We're taking orders from Shell now? It's called teamwork." "Okay," John said. "I have to go. Collect your ticket from the office and call me from London." He studied John. "Also, it may be a good idea for you to keep a low profile. I'm told the government is looking for you. The little matter of 14 dead teenagers." "Hey," John said, "you know I only ordered 10. "You can explain that to the government," Gregory said, looking at his watch. "If they catch up with you now." "It's not the whole government," he said, disgusted. "It's just Jennifer. She never quits." Gregory raised his eyebrows. "Jennifer? Long story," John said. "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." Gregory considered. "Don't expect the company to keep you, John. If the government gets you for this, it won't accept responsibility for a criminal act. Then maybe the company should hand over the $1 billion. My criminal act just made it." Gregory was silent. "Uh-huh," John said. He smiled at the girl with curly hair. "Does it bother you, John, that you're responsible for those kids?" John looked at him. "How do you mean?" "Forget it," Gregory said. "Hey," John said, nettled. "It's my job to increase sales. Is it my fault that was the best way to do it? If the government had the muscle to enforce a law, it wouldn't have made economic sense. But they don't, and it did. This is the world we live in. If you don't take advantage of the rules, you're a sucker." "I see," Gregory said. He was disappointed. John realized. You could never do enough for some people. No matter how much you delivered, they always wanted more. "For now, deal with your government problem and call me from London." "Sure," he tried to end on a positive note. "You can count on me." He watched Gregory's back until he disappeared onto the street. He had overstepped his mark there. He had mouthed off. The talk about Jennifer government had thrown him. The idea she was still tailing him gave him the creeps. "Another?" the bartender said. "Sure," John said, and he looked around the bar. The girl with the curly hair was still there, talking with her friend. She looked at him, smiled, and looked away. She was maybe 16. John smiled back at her. He could end L.A. on a positive note, too. Georgia picked up on the first ring. John was pleased. It was 8 a.m. in Melbourne, and most PAs would be taking advantage of his absence. John liked Georgia Saints Nike. He'd used her since mayor. The only thing she lacked was a knockout body and a penchant for skimpy outfits. But John had been down that road before, and it never worked out. Other managers got jealous. Your diary never got organized. And after you'd been effing them for a few months, they turned whiny and disobedient. "Georgia, good girl, in early. I've got some work for you." "Hi, John, how's L.A.?" "Great." He was calling from the airport gate. He had his finger plugged into his other ear. "I'm going to London today. Has the government been around?" "The government? You know, cheap suits, dour expressions, always asking for money." "No, John." "You haven't heard from Jennifer?" "Jennifer Mayer." "No, John." "Okay, superficially that was good. Fundamentally it meant Jennifer was chasing him, but being sneaky about it, which was bad. If they come knocking, I'm in Cuba." "Cuba? Or some country I might actually visit. I don't know. Make something up." "All right, John. Can I get a number for you in London? An address?" "I don't know where I'll be. Just use my cell phone." The flight had started to board. Attractive women in short skirts were processing business class tickets I have to go. If anything's not clear, get John to sort it out. He's still in a coma. John blinked. Still? How long is that guy going to take to get back to work? A hospital said it's hard to tell. Those places have no accountability. Look, I'll call you from London. With an address? Sure. Yeah, you clear on my instructions? Yes, John. Good girl, he said. I can always rely on you. Business class? One of the women called. Business class? Right here, John said, handing her his ticket. He looked into her eyes and smiled. 10 hours later, he was wandering around the Heathrow lounge, looking for anyone with a John Nike sign. He did 2 vague laps and settled into a plastic bench seat with his briefcase on his lap. After a long time, a kid wearing baggy pants and a puffy jacket wandered into the lounge. You John? Yes. Sorry I'm late, man. The airport is like 2 hours out of the city. Really? John said. How about you turn around and go back there? Say what? Said the kid. You see those things on your feet? That's my company. There are some people you can leave waiting for 30 minutes, and I'm not one of them. I don't get met by trainees, especially when we're an hour late. So go back to London and tell your boss that when a real person wants to talk to me, I'll be at the Hilton. He stood. Dude, the kid said, no need for hostilities. I'm a liaison, too. John startled. You're the Shell liaison? PepsiCo. We'll be working together with Shell. Pepsi. So are we cool? You're the Pepsi liaison. Straight up. John sighed. Consumer marketing could be so tiresome. So can we move? The kid said. My Ferrari's double parked. I've never been to England before, the Pepsi kid said. He had mentioned his name, but John hadn't bothered to remember it. I gotta say I'm disappointed. I thought it would be all cottages and meadows and crap. It's just another city. John said. He looked out of the window as they roared past a Mini. I mean, I'm glad it's not all, European Union and police, but I thought we'd be some differences. Where'd you get the car? I just asked my PA to get me something hot. He glanced at John. It's a 550 Barchetta. You like? It's all right. He decided to get Georgia to rent him a Porsche. You want to drive? No. 12 cylinders, dude. It's like wrestling a crocodile. How old are you? 24, but trust me, I'm competent. The kid swerved through lanes. Hey, I saw this old British movie. All the people spoke so different you could hardly understand them, but everyone here speaks American as good as you and me. What's with that? It's a smaller world these days, said John. Where are we going? Oh, sorry, man. We're going straight to the stock exchange. Didn't they tell you? Shell's buying out ExxonMobil. They launch a hostile takeover bid, and he looked at his watch. 30 minutes. That's why we're here, to watch a bunch of bankers? Brokers, dude. It's a serious event. If this one comes off, U.S. alliance controls 2/3 of the world's heavy fuels. And what are we meant to do? Crowd control, the kid grinned. John said, I'd really like to speak to the Shell liaison. We're meeting him there. John said nothing. This was very screwed up. He wondered if he should call Gregory. And what's with these road signs? The kid said. Motorway? What's wrong with interstate? They don't have states. They call them shars. Why? They just do. Huh, the kid said. He was silent for a while. Well, I guess that's different. 41, intersection. Bai was halfway into a new shirt when the buzzer went. He buttoned and hurried into the kitchen. He could see Jennifer in the fuzzy screen of his intercom, wearing a long coat, so he suddenly decided not to answer. He shouldn't have called her in the first place. That'd have been pathetic. He might as well have said, Hi, Jennifer, this is Bai, with a cry for help. He felt embarrassed at his failure to competently kill himself. The buzzer rang again. On the intercom screen, Jennifer shifted impatiently. He pushed the button. Hi. Oh, good, you're still here. He said, yes, come on up. He buzzed her in. His apartment looked plain and embarrassingly bachelor-like. Bai wished he had some flowers or knickknacks or something. She knocked. Bai took a breath and answered the door. Hiya, she said. Hi, come in, let me take your coat. Thanks. Jennifer wandered in and looked around, almost professionally. Nice view. How much does a place like this cost? You don't want to know. How would you like a drink? He had wine chilling in the fridge with 2 glasses on the sideboard. Yeah, that'd be great. She dropped onto the sofa. I'll be right back. He went into the kitchen, collected the wine and glasses, tried to calm down, and went back in. Jennifer was flipping through a magazine he'd left on the coffee table. Investor. Does this stuff really interest you? She said. All these numbers and graphs. Bai sat down on the chair next to the sofa. It was hard not to look at her barcode tattoo. He kept wondering what would come up if you scanned it. Not anymore. Ah, she smiled wryly. Bai suspected the Jennifer government had quite a repertoire of wry smiles. They might in fact be the only kind she had, hence the cult. Right. Can I see it? Okay. He fetched it from his bedroom desk drawer and brought it back. She turned it over, then put it in her bag. What are you doing? I don't want you to do anything you won't be able to regret later. He felt himself redden. You must think I'm pathetic. No, I shouldn't have called you. She touched his hand. Bai, I was at that Nike town. I know what it feels like to fail. I do. He looked at her for a while. Jennifer said, At least you got it out with a decent haircut. He laughed. Come on, she said. I'm starving. Let's get some food. They ordered Chinese and spread it across the carpet in front of the window. Jennifer kept staring out at the city, and when she did, Vi snuck looks at her. She caught him once, and he looked away, embarrassed. "I can hardly hold these darn chopsticks," she said. "You know, my shoulder. Does it hurt much? It's not so bad anymore. My hair is worse. No, it's very noticeable." "Hey," she said, "I like it. It's French, short and messy as hip." "Yeah, well," she said, "you're too generous." She drained her glass. "So what's France like?" "Different. People pay tax, and the government is much stronger." "My kind of place," Jennifer said. "There isn't the poverty of here, or the wealth. There is unemployment, but France is very beautiful. The great buildings of Paris and the villages, like paintings." He saw her smile, and it looked like a real one. "It is truly a romantic place." She said. "I could do with some of that. Unfortunately, it didn't seem to help when I lived there." "No, if anything," I said, "it seems to make breakups more poignant. One time I broke up with a girl outside of the Notre Dame. She slapped me and ran away crying. I felt like the bad guy in a movie." Jennifer snickered. "Oh, and you've never had a bad breakup?" "No, I guess I have. Don't just sit there," he said, topping her glass. "Let's have it." She frowned. It was in the boardroom of an LA office tower, this enormous room with glass walls and views over the city, and we both just finished the most important meeting of our lives. I asked him to hang up a minute. Uh-oh. He had no idea it was coming. He thought we were going great. I told him I was pregnant. I said nothing. Jennifer's dark eyes watched him. He flipped. I mean, really flipped. He didn't want a kid. He didn't want me to have a kid. I can understand it in a way. We were young and trying to establish careers, but when he said that, I hated him. She shook her head. "As soon as I discovered I was pregnant, I knew I wasn't giving up my baby." It sounds stupid, but it changes your life. Makes you realize who you are. So he and we went to war. It was insane. In the end, I quit my job and moved out here. He thought that meant we won. But I have a beautiful daughter, and she's everything I want. She's everything. They held each other's eyes. But I thought wildly, should I kiss her? Should I? Jennifer looked down. "You mind if I make a phone call?" "Of course," he said, trying to recover. "I'll clean up." She produced a cell phone, and Vi carried the remnants of their meal to the garbage. When he returned, she was on the sofa. He carefully sat beside her. "You, Billy, you have to get rid of him any way you can. You'd better understand what I mean." She paused. "You get all that? Okay, thanks." She beeped off her phone. Vi raised an eyebrow. "Work," Jennifer said. "Right," Vi said, like an idiot, kissed her. She tensed. For a second he thought she was going to flip him and dig her knee into his back. But then she kissed him back. It was strange and tentative. Then he felt her hand on his shoulder, pulling him closer. Her lips curved beneath his. She pulled away. "This is why you called me, right?" "Vi." Yes," Vi confessed. "Good." She smiled again, almost shyly. "That's what I was hoping." 42. Revelation. The NRA camp had grown a lot since Billy was last here. There were more tents, more soldiers, and spotlights sweeping the grounds. It didn't look so temporary anymore. "Well," he said, "what's going on?" "Expedition," Bill said. "They're bringing more of the regular NRA membership into the fold." But I didn't know what that meant. Wow, the cab driver was nervous. He slowed to a halt, 20 feet from the gates where NRA guards eyed them from behind metal fortifications. You get out here? Okay, no further. They won't hurt you," Bill said, but he reached for his wallet. He grinned at Billy. As soon as they closed the doors, the driver spun the cab around and bounced on the dirt-packed road. Billy and Bill walked up to the gate. "Name and business." "Bill, NRA, Strike Team Operative, Operation Instigate." "Billy, NRA," Billy said. Strike Team Operative, Operation Police." The guards were kids, not even Billy's age. "You got some ID?" "Son," Bill said. "The work we do, we don't carry identification." The guard said. "I'm gonna have to check this out." "Look," Bill said, "the only person in this camp who's going to know me is Corporal Yalam. Now you can either wake him up or let me and my buddy in so we can get some GD sleep." The guards huddled together, conferring. Billy frowned. This was another coincidence. Bill worked for Yalam too. But that didn't make any sense. Why wasn't Bill with Yalam's squad for the police job then? "I can put you in a secured area for the night," the guard said finally. "Lock you in until Yalam can verify you in the morning, all right?" "Some homecoming," Bill said, but he hoisted his pack and Billy did the same. The guards showed them to a secured barracks, a squat wooden building with no windows and a metal door, and locked them in. Billy found the light switch. There were 6 bunks and a door to the bathroom. He dropped his pack on a bed. "Man, I'm beat." "Me too, let's hit the sack." In bed, Billy kept thinking about Yalam. Something was bugging him about that. Then he wondered if he'd be able to get away and see that NRA receptionist again. The one with the great body, that would be nice. That would be real nice. He woke sometime just before dawn, with a full bladder. It was just light enough to see Bill asleep in the bunk across the room. Billy got out of bed and went to the bathroom. As he was peeing, he thought about Jennifer Government. She'd been pretty keen to talk to him yesterday with all that buzzing. Maybe he should check in. He unzipped and went back to his bunk. Bill was still asleep. He fished through his pack until he found a jacket with the Marlboros in the pocket. He needed that little headphone jack, too, but it was way down at the bottom of the pack. He tried to keep quiet. Bill didn't stir. He went back to the bathroom and sat in the stall, pushing the door closed with his foot. That funky packet was still vibrating, although now only in a few bursts. Maybe the batteries were running low. He plugged in the headphones and was surprised to hear Jennifer Government's voice. You check in together. It's going to take them about 10 seconds to realize what's going on. Then they'll kill you, Billy. You have to get rid of him any way you can. You'd better understand what I mean. Hello? He whispered. There was a click and then she started again. It was a recording. Billy, this is Jennifer. You dumb crap. The guy you're with is the guy you're pretending to be. You said the NRA were expecting someone called Bill NRA. This is the guy. If you check in together, it's going to take them about 10 seconds. Billy felt his body freeze over. Oh, crap, he heard the bathroom door squeak open. Hey, buddy, Bill said. What are you doing in there? The words hardly made a sound. Just taking a dump, dude. He heard Bill's footsteps. He looked at the door. No lock. There was no lock on the door. What, another one? His throat tightened until he could hardly breathe. What? You get out, come in here, and go back to your bunk. Come back in here. What's that about? His voice lowered. You got some girly mags or something? Yeah, Billy said. Yeah, What are you, talking to them? Billy said. Yeah, sometimes I like to, Well, don't be selfish, dude, Bill said, and pushed open the door. They looked at each other for a while. What the F is that? Bill said. It's some kind of radio. Can you get the baseball on that? What? Billy said. Yeah, I'm listening to a game now. Man, that is awesome. Who's playing? Billy coughed to save himself enough time to think. The Yankees and the White Sox. You're crapping me. The Sox are my team. Mind if I have a listen? Sure. He unplugged the headphones and handed the packet to Bill. Bill turned it over. I've never seen anything like this. They just look like regular smokes. Where'd you get it? He put the headphones to his ears and listened. Maybe the recording stopped, Billy thought. Maybe Jennifer heard us and turned it off. Hey, Bill said. That's ain't baseball. Billy kicked the stall door as hard as he could. It hit Bill in the face and rebounded. The door blocked Billy's view for a second, then saw Bill lying against the opposite wall underneath the sink, looking surprised and hurt. Bill spat blood onto his chest. Your government. Sorry, Billy said. He stood and walked over, looking for something to knock Bill out with. Infiltrator, Bill shouted, kicking out Billy's legs. Suddenly, Bill's thick arm was wrapped around his neck. Billy coughed and struggled. Help me, Bill yelled. His voice bounced off the tiled walls. Security, I need help. Billy got an elbow free and ran Bill's head up into the bottom of the sink. The porcelain shuddered, raining down onto him. Ah, Bill said. Sorry, Billy said again. Then he felt something hot and wet in my stomach. Take that, a-hole, Bill said. Billy looked down. There was a long, thin shard of porcelain sticking out of his side. He was so horrified at the blood that he forgot about Bill, so he didn't see his knuckles coming. His head rocked back and hit the wall. Then Billy stopped thinking about anything for a while. He must have slumped over and knocked the porcelain shard against the floor. That regained his attention. He screamed. He was alone in the bathroom. He felt dizzy. His hands and feet were numb. He knew he probably should leave the shard in his side, but he couldn't stand it hanging there. He yanked. His vision flared. He felt blood stream down his side. He tried to cover the wound with his hand. Infiltrator, Bill's voice echoed from the sleeping quarters. Will you guys hurry up? There's a GD government infiltrator in here trying to kill me. Billy heard keys rattling. Someone, or more likely some people, were unlocking the front door. He got to his feet, fell over, then stood up again. The bathroom door was a long way away. He staggered forward and grabbed hold of the doorway. Bill was assembling a gun on one of the bunks. It was an FN M249 automatic, if Billy wasn't mistaken. Not a very accurate over long range, but pretty much guaranteed to chop him into pieces from 10 feet away. Bill raised it. Billy took the only evasive action he could and dropped to the floor. The woodwork exploded above his head. The front door popped open. 4 men in combat fatigues stormed in. They were carrying submachine guns. Infiltrator, Billy croaked, and pointed at Bill. They opened fire and Bill backflipped across the room. For a second, Billy thought Bill must be incredibly acrobatic, then he realized and turned away. Are you all right? NRA man said to him, and another shouted, Medic, we need a medic in here. Ag, Billy said, and slept for a while. 43. Apostasy. Hack felt her touch his hair. He felt her hand on his face. Violet? Violet? Shh, Claire said. It's just me. He struggled awake. What time? It's just after 6. There's a phone call for you. It's Violet. Hack threw back the covers. Relief washed through him. Violet was alive. He ran to the kitchen and grabbed the receiver. Hello, Violet? Hi. She sounded small and far away. There was a lot of background noise, as if she was in the car on a BC freightway. I can't talk long. I'm calling from an airplane. A what? I just wanted to tell you I'll be away for a while. I got a job. What airplane? I'm going to London. London? He felt confused. Yes. But how come? When are you coming back? I don't know. Maybe a couple of weeks. Weeks? I sold my software to ExxonMobil. Oh, Violet, that's great. How did... I have to go. I'll call again later. Wait. How come you didn't call before? I've been busy. I had to go to Dallas. Dallas? Heck, I have to go. Why didn't you call me from Dallas? I'm calling you now, aren't I? Come on, don't. Around. I'm not around. Heck heard the whine in his voice. He turned his back on Claire, who was waiting in the doorway. I just think you could have called so I didn't have to worry you'd been killed. You know, forget I called. I thought you might be happy for me. I am, Violet, but you're like a rubber on my legs, you know? Everything I do, you try to hold me back. It's too much. Violet, I've never held you back. We lived on my income for a year. The phone clicked in his ear. Violet? Violet? Hack couldn't move. After all, he felt Claire's arms encircle his waist, hugging him from behind. You okay? He couldn't speak. She doesn't deserve you, Hack, Claire said softly. She never did. Hack went into work but couldn't concentrate. He spent most of the day staring out of the window and chewing on his pen. So many things had turned out lately to not be what Hack thought. First there was Violet, who was neither as affectionate nor as dead as he believed. Then there were the things that Claire's hippie friends had said, things that made more sense than he really wanted them to. Like how he was being exploited by Nike. That was truer than any of them knew. But the most confusing was Claire. It was possible she was just being nice to him. Hack knew Claire was sweet. But it was also possible that she still cared for him. It was possible she never stopped caring for him the whole time he'd been with Violet. That thought kept running around and around in his head. Hey, Hack, a woman across the aisle said. You still with us? What? You're staring at nothing. Oh, he said. Yes, I'm fine. She rolled her eyes. Hack felt annoyed. He was sitting right here. Did she think he couldn't see her? No one respected Hack at Nike. No one respected him anywhere. He stood up. I'm going to get going. She looked startled. It's only 5 o'clock. Yeah, well, Hack said. I'm still going. He had things to do. The cab driver thought it was pretty funny, Hack not knowing where his own car was. Hack was having trouble seeing the humor in the situation, but that might have been because he was costing him $1 a minute to uselessly circle the airport parking lot. Then it occurred to him that Violet might not have driven herself here at all. She hadn't paid for her own plane ticket. He had the cab take him to the ExxonMobil building and walked up to the reception. Excuse me, where's your visitor parking? To use visitor parking, you need to book ahead, sir. The receptionist smiled sympathetically. I don't want to use it, Hack said. I just want to know where it is. But, sir, there's no point in me telling you where it is unless you've booked. Oh, fine, Hack said. He would wander around until he found it. He started to walk away. The receptionist said, Oh, are you the owner of a red Toyota? He stopped. Yes. We had that towed. Towed where? I'm not sure. That's a firm we use. You'll need to call them. She slipped a card across the desk. Can I use your phone? She looked at him doubtfully. Hack resisted the urge to drop his eyes. Instead, he met her gaze with what he hoped was force and natural authority. Sure, the receptionist said. She slid the phone across the desk. I really shouldn't let you, though. She smiled. Thanks. He tried not to show his surprise. What a reaction. Hack had never gained such results in his life. There's something to his assertiveness stuff. I won't be long. Take as long as you need, the receptionist said. The tow truck company would give Hack's car back only if he came out of their lot, showed them some ID, and paid them $500. That wasn't such a great development. Hack didn't have $500, not even close. The man for the towing company wouldn't budge no matter how much force and natural authority Hack used. Still, he felt upbeat on the cab trip back to Claire's. He felt like he'd discovered something important. People like John Nike hadn't been pushing him around for no reason, Hack realized. He had let them do it. He'd expected them to do it. Well, all that was going to change. Hack was going to take control. Claire wasn't home yet. Hack sat on the sofa and jiggled his leg. He couldn't wait to talk to her. He wanted to ask about that group of hers. He wanted to know if they did more than just talk. 44. Collaboration. Violet pushed end call on the airplane. It had a long cord that was meant to retract into her seat, but she couldn't get it to work. She caught Nathaniel ExxonMobil looking at her across the aisle. Trouble at home? It's fine, Violet said. She didn't want to talk to Nathaniel right now. It's hard for your loved ones to understand why you have to leave them, why you have to do certain things. That's something I've learned. Things are fine. She found the right button. The phone retracted. You didn't tell him about the deal? Violet looked down at the contract. It gave ExxonMobil full use of her software, plus her services to activate it. It gave Violet, if her product worked, just under $3 million. It's nothing to do with him. This is mine. All right, Nathaniel said and returned to his journal. It was raining in London. Violet cupped her hands and poured out of the windows, but all she could see through the tint and fog were gray silhouettes of low buildings. She reached for the control to wind them down, but Nathaniel's hand closed over her. Sorry, not possible. Why not? I don't want to be seen. You can do the tourist thing after you hit Shell. When's that? He looked at his watch. 3 hours. Oh, she felt her gut tighten. Everything will work out, Nathaniel said. Just you wait and see. You don't have to go in there. Neither do you. Do you want to back out of the contract? Violet looked away. She didn't like Nathaniel very much. No. Violet was the only tech in the group. She'd been briefed as the server had gained access to, but even so, she was no Solaris expert. If she got lost in the operating system, all she had to rely on was a headset and some guys in London Exmo headquarters. Violet thought it would be the other way around, Exmo techs going in while she sat in an air-conditioned building with a radio. But this was how Nathaniel wanted it. Violet plus 12 members of the police who were soldiers, really, with uniforms and guns and belts with plenty of stuff on them. They rode to the shell in the back of the UPS van. Violet watched to see if they looked competent. She wasn't used to working in a team. She was starting to freak out a little. 2 minutes, the leader said. The police began pulling on the balaclavas and slapping weapons together. Man will be between you and them at all times. Just go where we push you. You'll look after me, right? You won't lose me? No, ma'am. She looked for his name tag. It said only 1. Trust me. The van slowed and everyone inside shut up. Then it moved on, then finally stopped. This was the cue everyone except Violet knew. Police soldiers jumped up and slapped open the doors. She was immediately surrounded. Someone kneed her in the butt. She accidentally headbutted a man's back. Her only view was straight up of the office tower they were about to enter. She heard glass smash and a soldier manhandled her through a broken revolving door. Someone said, "Down, down on the ground." She caught a glimpse of white-faced security guard. He didn't look as if he felt like taking a dozen heavily armed soldiers. Violet thought maybe this is going to be all right. A few soldiers stayed in the lobby. The rest stormed a stairwell. Violet's soldier kept one hand on her back, pushing her all the way up. At first she was resentful, but 10 story days later, she was pretty much relying on him. When they exited onto a floor, she could hardly breathe. Then there was a lot of shouting. The floor was a cubicle farm, full of shocked-looking employees. The police kept breaking out in formation to push someone to the ground, and Violet began to feel more vulnerable. A girl with glasses met her eyes. She looked young and scared. Violet felt bad for her. The speakers in the ceiling said, all personnel. We are experiencing a dangerous security situation. Take cover under your desk until further notice. Do not attempt to leave the building. This is not a drill. Down, down, down," the soldier to Violet's left shouted. He ran to where a man was leaning over a desk, talking on the phone. "Put that down. Get on the floor." I'm just closing a deal," the man said. Violet froze. She couldn't believe anyone would be so stupid. The soldier thrust his rifle barrel into the man's face. "Put it down. Please, just one more." The soldier did something to his gun. It made a click. "A minute, please." The soldier jumped, twisted, and fell on top of him. Violet didn't know why. She'd never heard the shot. She was left to infer from it the businessman's horrified expression and the blood. There was a young man across the room, a kid in a suit and a bright tie. He was holding a pistol. A soldier tackled Violet hard, throwing her to the ground, and then there was a lot of gunfire. She heard that. "Get off," Violet shouted, but he had her pinned. "Get off me." She didn't know why she was struggling. The shooting didn't last long. There was some screaming, and the police shouted some more, and the Violet soldier hauled her up and pushed her along. "Wait," she twisted, trying to see. "Wait, what happened to the kid with the pistol was gone." On the wall behind there had been where he had been was a red display. "Oh no," she said. "No, no, no. Get a hold of yourself," the soldier snarled. He sounded strange, so she turned to look. He was carrying the wounded soldier over his shoulder. He was trying to hold his neck in. Blood ran between his fingers. She screamed, recoiled against the man in front of her, tripped and fell. "Get up," the soldier yelled. Hands were on her, pulling her hair and her clothes. "Get up, get up." "No, no," she kicked them. Someone reached a hand toward her, and she bit it. "Ah, GD it. Carry her," someone ordered, and they did. A soldier picked up Violet. She slung over his shoulders. She slapped wildly at his head. She felt terribly exposed. She could see employee eyes peeking around at her desks and through potted plants. The soldiers broke open some glass doors. This was the computer room, so busted doors were really going to F with the temperature control. Violet knew featureless computer service stood about spaced evenly across the floor. The soldier dropped her to the ground. You work here. Do your stuff." "No, do it." "I can't." He slapped her so hard she fell to her knees. It was so surprising and absurd that Violet started laughing. A police soldier pulled her so close that she couldn't see anything except his eyes, surrounded by the balaclava. It was enough for her to recognize him. It was the leader, one. His hand gripped her neck. "Do your job or I'll kill you here." His words were funny, but his eyes were hard and suggested to Violet that one was not the kind of guy to kid around. She struggled for air. Wait, I need a terminal, not the actual computer, a terminal." "What the F's a terminal?" There in his grip, she tried to peer around. There was a small glass-walled room to one side. 3 techs stood inside, looking out nervously. "I need to get in there." "Move," one said, and dropped her. She rubbed her throat while the soldiers kicked in the door and hauled the techs out. Violet followed them in and walked between rows of terminals until she found one that said, "Root at Sphinx/USR%. One was right behind her. "Is this what you need? Is this it?" "Yes," she said, and began to work. 45. Execution. In John's opinion, if you'd seen one stock exchange, you'd seen them all. Giant screens, paper-strewn floors, too many sweaty people in close proximity to each other. John hadn't been on the trading floor before, but all that added to the experience, with strangers shouting mumbo-jumbo in his ear. The only words he understood coming out of these people's mouths were, "Gimme," and "effing." The Shell liaison was tall, thin, and jumpy. His eyes rolled around the boards, and he kept losing concentration while John was talking to him. Between him and the Pepsi Kid, John was less than impressed with the quality of U.S. Alliance personnel engaged here. The takeover had been announced at 9:30. Shell was offering $58 for every common share of ExxonMobil sold before the close of trading. "Is that a slot?" John asked, and the Shell liaison said, "It's double the opening," which John took to mean yes. Since there had been a lot of excited brokers, and the Shell liaison biting his nails, and John was getting bored. "What are we doing here?" he asked the Pepsi Kid. "You're talking to me again?" the kid said. He had collected some ripped paper stubs from the floor and seemed to be trying to stick them together. "We're here for defense. If TA tries to storm the exchange, we coordinate the NRA to repel them." "They think Team Advantage will attack the exchange? Those NRA dudes aren't for show, man." John had assumed they were part of normal security. He began to feel vulnerable. He hadn't replaced the pistol Hack's girlfriend had stolen from him yet. "Do you have a gun?" The Pepsi Kid patted his jacket. "Always." "Great," John said. "Just great." "You're unarmed?" "No one told me we were going to be shooting at me." "Oh, nothing. Probably is going to happen. We caught TA off guard, and we've got 50 guys here." He noticed a commotion spreading through the floor. The brokers were getting even more agitated. "What's going on?" The kid was squinting at his torn dockets. "Dunno, ask Stretch." John saw the Shell liaison shouting into his cell phone. The cords in his neck were bulging. "This doesn't look good. Maybe TA are coming," the kid sniggered. A groan rippled through the hall. One of the big boards flashed up. "Royal Dutch/Shell RDS bid for ExxonMobil XXN suspended." John walked to the Shell liaison and took his arm. "What's happening?" He covered the mouthpiece. "We've lost our integrated trading systems. We can't verify buy orders until it comes back up. We're trying to—" "Is it temporary? I'll let you know, okay?" John went back to the Pepsi Kid. "So?" the kid said. "Some computer problem." The kid blew air through his teeth. "Eggheads, man. You can never rely on him," he smirked. "If we're going to be attacked, I would have given you my gun, you know." "Sure you would have," John said. An hour later, the bid suspended sign was still up, and the brokers were getting increasingly peed off. John was restless. He was here to make sure the buyout went smoothly, and it had come to a grinding halt. This was not looking like a good career move. "What's taking them so long?" the Pepsi Kid said. "Don't their computers have backups?" John spotted the Shell liaison in conversation with a floor trader. "Let's find out." He stood behind the man until he turned. "Are we doing business here or what?" the Shell liaison whispered. "The entire Shell net has been toasted. They don't think they can bring it back up today." "Son of a bee," the Pepsi Kid said. "What happened down here?" "An armed group entered the Shell building and disabled our IT. TA attacked us? Those effers," the kid said. "We don't know for sure. It's Team Advantage. There are no way we can identify particular—" "Of course it's them," Jen said. "It's ExxonMobil. It's TA. What's our counteraction?" The Shell liaison rubbed his forehead. "We need to prepare an announcement for floor. We'll extend the bid until tomorrow, maybe the day after." "No," John said. "Your competitor just invaded your building. What's our counteraction?" "There's nothing we can do." "Bullcrap." Some people couldn't salvage anything from defeat, John thought. Well, he wasn't one of them. He was prepared to seize opportunities. "How many men do you have here?" "Whoa, whoa, whoa," the liaison said. "Nobody's going to—" "I'm with John," the kid said. "Let's kick some—" "We'll refer to the incident to the government, and they won't—" "The government? The enemy kicks you and you want to fill out a complaint form? You think the government's even on our side?" "TA are dissing us," the Pepsi Kid said. "Listen to John, boy." "But what are you going to do?" "I'm going to take these NRA guys, and I'm going to tell ExxonMobil they made a mistake." "You let me talk to the Shell CEO first." "Just, John, wait." "Too late," John said. "You," he said. "I need your men to come with me for a counter-offensive against ExxonMobil." The NRA soldier looked him up and down. According to his lapel, he was a lieutenant, but John didn't know how high that was. "And who are you?" He flashed his ID. "Nike liaison." "Sir, I have no authority to initiate offensives. My orders are to hold this position." "Do you have orders to protect the safety of liaisons?" "Yes." "Then you better follow me," John said. "Because I'm about to go shoot some people." He didn't wait to see if he was being obeyed. The Pepsi Kid was at his side like a puppy. "Give me your keys." "What?" "Your keys," John said. "I'm driving." The kid was right. The Barchetta was an animal. They blew through downtown London while the kid scrambled for his seatbelt and shouted, "Oh, F!" And then they got too close to other cars. "Are they following?" The kid craned his neck. "There's an NRA truck about 3 blocks back. You're losing them." The lights ahead turned red, and John gunned the engine. It was a typical narrow London street, just a single lane of cars in each direction, so he jumped the curb, scraped between a pylon and a storefront, and bounced back onto the road. The street ahead was clear. He put his foot down. "John, the car has no clearance. You can't drive on the sidewalk, man." "How much further?" The kid had gotten directions for his cell phone. It was an AT&T service. "Right there, 89.9. He saw the logo. It was a tall cream-colored building with a lobby encased in plate glass. That suited John nicely. "NRA still with us?" "They're pretty far back, man." "Better wait or they'll miss us." "They won't miss us. Hang on." "Oh, no, no." John dropped the handbrake long enough to spin the car 90 degrees and nudge the accelerator. The Ferrari leapt towards the ExxonMobil interest. "Ah!" the kid yelled. The car hit the curb and bounced so they were slightly airborne and they plowed into the plate glass. The kid was right again. They had no clearance at all. He caught a glimpse of people running and diving. They hit something large and unmovable, and he was drowning in an airbag. He couldn't see, but he got a hand to the kid's chest and found his gun. He unlatched the door and tumbled out. "Are you all right?" a woman said. "Mister?" "I'm fine," John said, and pointed the gun at her. She screamed. It echoed in the lobby. "Where are the top executives in this building? Which floor?" He heard the passenger door open and the kid get out, coughing. "The 38th. They're all in the 38th. Thank you." He walked to the elevators. The kid trailed him silently. John had finally found a way to shut him up. He pushed for an elevator and waited. The Ferrari was embedded in a huge reception desk. So far it was hard to tell where one stopped and the other one began. John wondered if anyone had been sitting there. The NRA soldiers entered the lobby, peeking their way through the glass. John spotted the lieutenant he'd spoken to earlier. "Hey," he called, "security cameras." "What?" "Go and find where they operate the security cameras. I don't want to leave evidence." "Yes, sir," the lieutenant said. He was giving John some respect now, all right. The elevator arrived and John entered it. As they rode toward floor 38, the car tinkled music at them. The kid held out for another few seconds. "You just assumed there was a passenger side airbag. Too much planning gets in the way of execution," John said. "It could have been my execution. You're fine. And look, it took my gun." "You said you'd loan it to me." "Yeah, well," the kid muttered, and John said, "You know what makes a successful executive? Dude, I am a successful executive. Decisiveness," he said. The door slid open. A man in a briefcase was standing there. He raised his eyebrows. John pointed the gun at the man's leg and squeezed the trigger. It was louder than he'd expected. "Holy crap," the kid said. "Also, implementation skills," John said, and he left the elevator. The boardroom was directly ahead, guarded by a single PA at a desk. She rose as John and the Pepsi kid approached. "Who was that? Was that a shot?" John pointed the gun at her. "Sit down." She sat. The Pepsi kid took the initiative and pushed open the doors. Inside, amongst muted lighting and tasteful paintings, were 5 men and a girl. They were in such enormous bloated chairs that it was like they were waiting for John to plug them. "All right," he said. "Who's the big cheese here?" Silence. "Speak up," the kid shouted. "Okay," John said, and cocked his gun at the girl. She still screamed and crammed her fist into her mouth. There was something familiar about her, something that tugged at his memory. "Do I know you?" "No, no." He thought she was probably lying, but he didn't have time to pursue it. "Who's the CEO?" "I am," a man said. "I'm Nathaniel ExxonMobil. Let's talk about compensation. I thought you might be in town, Mr. CEO. I had a feeling." "Why don't you let these people go? You and I will discuss it like businessmen. I have a question for you," John said. "Did you or did you not commission an assault on the computer network of a Shell U.S. Alliance company?" Nathaniel's eyes didn't waver. "Yes." John shot him. The force rolled Nathaniel in his executive chair back 2 feet like a display. The girl started crying. "Okay," John said. "Now you efforts will cease hostile action toward U.S. Alliance. You will acknowledge that your company and your team advantage has no ability and no right to compete with us. This is the new economy, and in it, you can't hope to F with us and get away with it. Do you crapheads understand that?" One of the men closed his eyes and began mouthing a prayer. John almost clocked him just for that. "Good," he said. The Pepsi kid held the door open for him. 46. Resumption. Jennifer slipped out of Bai's bed at 5, trying to sneak out. When she came out of the bathroom, his eyes were peeking over the pillow, reflecting light. "Jennifer, hey," she sat on the bed. "I gotta go." "Oh," he looked cute. All disheveled and disoriented. On impulse, she stroked his hair. "So you want to see me again, or what?" He said. "You know, I think I do." "You sure?" "You want me to prove it?" He threw back the covers. She looked at her watch. She looked at Bai. "You know you want to," he said, and she couldn't argue with that. The house was spotless when she returned, and the babysitter was curled up on the sofa. She was really good value, Jennifer thought. She would have to stop tipping her more. She tiptoed down the hall and peeked into Kate's bedroom. Kate was asleep, snuggled up to a giant frog. Jennifer crouched down and kissed her. "Morning, sweetheart." Kate's eyes opened and squeezed closed. "I'm tired. It's time to get ready for school." "I don't want to." "And yet?" she said. Kate screwed up her face. "Mommy, I hate it when you say, 'and yet.' Come on, Sleepy. Today's the big day, remember? We hit the kennels tonight." Kate's eyes opened. "Really?" "Yep, I promised, didn't I?" She kissed her cheek. At work, she spent half an hour trying to find someone to talk to in the LA office before she checked her email and found a message. It read, "From George S. Saints at mktg.nike.com.au to Jennifer.fieldagent at melbau.government.com. John, London, don't know where. She hit the top of her desk, then kicked the table. That didn't help, so she grabbed the monitor and shook it. "Well," Cowan said, entering that time, "he's gone to London." "Who, John?" He sat beside her and read the email. "Oh, crap. How are we going to get to London? I don't know. I wonder." He looked at his watch. "The boss called a briefing this morning. Something happened in the British territory, some kind of corporate dispute. Maybe it's related. A dispute. Let's walk and talk. Oh, and I called you in to attend to this, okay? That's why you're here, not because you're too big-headed to stay home." Jennifer said, "Okay." They entered the canteen, which was already full of agents, and took a couple of seats at the back. Elise was up front with more top management than Jennifer had ever seen in one place. Their uniforms gleamed. Maybe John was involved, she said. Maybe he got hurt. I have to say you're looking much perkier, Calvin said. One day you rest, you're a new woman. I guess you were right about me needing time off, she said. I guess you really nailed the source of all my problems. He looked at her. Or, Jennifer said, maybe I got lucky. His eyebrows shot up. Jen, good work. Anyone I know? Elise said. Let's get this moving, please. First, let me introduce our guest from our head office. A lady never tells, she said, but it was Bai Mitsui. Well done, Elise said. If we can have everyone's attention. People turned to look at them. Sorry, Calvin said. A man had taken the podium. He had sights. Thank you. The thing we want to get across here is that this was a measured, blatant violation of law. They knew what they were doing, both TA and U.S. Alliance. They decided they could get away with it. We're going to prove them wrong. Team Advantage has already admitted to send a strike team into Shell. They say it was ordered by Nathaniel ExxonMobil, who is now deceased without the company's knowledge or approval. The government doesn't consider this explanation acceptable. The U.S. Alliance, for its part, denies any involvement in the subsequent death of Nathaniel ExxonMobil. The government also considers this unsatisfactory. We are now going to exact compensation. We are going to demand unheard-of penalties. Our most senior people, including the President, are now en route to London to conduct a negotiation. London, Jennifer raised her hand. The man pointed to her. Yes, the corporates won't roll over just because we tell them to. I hope you guys have a better plan than asking nicely. Elise whispered in his ear. Another woman touched his shoulder. He convened with them, then nodded. Jennifer, you're right. If we can't hit these guys with anything more than harsh words, they'll continue to break the law when it suits them. Therefore, the government is reassigning 20,000 agents, effective immediately. In 2 days, we will conduct simultaneous raids against every company involved. We'll arrest every executive we can. We will, if necessary, incarcerate every member of senior management, pending trial until they concede to our demands. Agents were murmuring. Holy crap, Calvin said. Is that even legal? Jennifer kept her hand up. Who gets to do the raids? Excuse me, who gets to go? Some of the agents around her snickered. The raiding parties will be comprised of every field agent we can spare in London, and we'll be flying in agents who have particular expertise. I have particular expertise, she said. Even before the Nike Town killings, Yes, Jennifer, he said. We know. You're going to London tonight. Part 4. 47. NRA. NZ. When Billy woke, there was a man with a chest full of ribbons sitting beside him. Ah, good, the man said. He was short, crisp, and compact, with gray temples and sharp eyes. Billy, I'm generally... Do you mind if we talk? Sure, Billy said. He tried to sit up and discovered his wrists were tied to the bed. What the... Good, let's start with this. Can you tell me what this is? The evening sun was streaming through the window, and Billy had to squint. The general was holding a cigarette packet, his bug. Billy suddenly felt more alert. Hey, what's that? That Bill guy had. A man, I think he was talking into it. General Lee said. He pondered. Let me put this another way. Billy, I know you're a spy. Oh, he tugged at the restraints. The shame of it is, we killed a good soldier. I understand how it occurred, but it really is a pity. Ironic how he survived a mission against the government only to be killed by us. I have to explain that to his family somehow. General Lee was wearing a beret. Now he took it off and scratched his skull. Such things happen in the friction of war. No, I never wanted to carry that thing, Billy said. The government made me. I could explain. Ah, General, he said. Please do. Billy started talking. He told his whole sorry tale from the Abilene, Texas to New Zealand and active NRA missions he didn't know anything about to government espionage. The general seemed vaguely sympathetic. Well, he said finally, that is a story. That is a story indeed, Billy waited. There's some debate about what to do with you. There are officers who believe you should spend the foreseeable future in a military prison. That's a field book solution. No, you can't put me in a prison. He felt his throat constricting. I just wanted to go skiing. That's all I wanted, please. Other officers, however, would prefer to have you shot. Ag, Billy said. But there's something that interests me, Billy, before this debacle. You were being recruited by us. You had been selected because you demonstrated exemplary skills. Billy blinked. Marksmanship, Lily said helpfully. Right, yeah, I can shoot real well. Better than anybody. He felt his wrists going slippery with sweat where the restraints held them. If that's true, I may have a special need for you. Sure, let me show. I assume you know what kind of job I have in mind. Sure, he thought. Like sniper stuff? Would you have a problem with that? He contemplated this. Yes, Billy would have a problem with that, but his most pressing problem was getting shot for a reason by NRA soldiers. No, wait, give me a gun and I'll blow away whoever you... Yes, all right, General Lee said, in good time. If things work out, we'll have assignments for you. Away from the Australian territories and the local government. And if things don't work out... I was leaning toward the prison option, General Lee said. Probably. He stood. Rest up. Tomorrow morning we'll see what you can do. Thanks, man. Thanks. Just before the general left, Billy said, "This place where I go, the place where I'll do assignments, are there mountains? No?" General Lee smiled. No. 48. N.A. "Okay," Bai said when Jennifer walked in the door. "I decided on casserole. I was thinking tuna bake, but that box of breadcrumbs of yours expired 6 months ago." He looked at her reprovingly. "Oh," Jennifer said, "you're cooking?" "I got restless. Bai had arranged to meet Jennifer's house after work, but when he arrived she was on the way to pick up Kate, so she let him in and told him to amuse himself. He now had 3 pots bubbling on the stovetop and put a dish in the oven. I hope you don't mind." I thought, "What?" "There's a girl," Bai said, "hiding behind your legs." She looked down. "Bai, this is Kate. Kate, meet Bai." Bai waved. "Pleased to meet you." Kate didn't say anything. She had dark eyes like her mother. Bai felt a twinge of nervousness. He didn't have much experience with kids. Jennifer said, "Kate, why don't you get changed?" Kate laughed wordlessly. There was something going on here, Bai thought. Kate's face looked like a storm. Jennifer's was tired and strained. "She's cute," Bai said. He stirred a pot. "Yeah, she is." Jennifer looked at him. "Look, I have something to ask. A favor. A big one. Sure. I've been given an assignment in London. I don't know how long it will be. Maybe a week." "You're leaving? When?" "Tonight." Bai looked at his casserole. "Do you have time to eat?" "No." "Oh, lucky. I'm hungry." "You can say no, but I need someone to look after Kate." She watched him. Bai almost laughed. "You want me to take care of your daughter? You don't only have to pick her up after school or after care, feed her. Isn't there anyone else you'd rather do this? Family? Her father?" "Look," Jennifer said, "I'm asking you, okay?" "Okay," he hesitated. "You don't know me very well." "Sure I do." "Well, okay then," Bai said. "I'd be honored." "Thanks, thank you." He could see the relief on her face. "I thought maybe you could stay here so Kate's not in a new environment. Is that all right?" "Sure." Kate reappeared in the doorway. Jennifer said, "Honey, Bai will be looking after you while I'm away." Kate looked at him. "All right, he's cooking a nice meal for you." She waited. "I'm not hungry." "You don't have to eat now. I'm not ready yet. You can eat later." Kate was silent. "I'm sorry," Jennifer said. She pressed a hand against her forehead. "Kate, I'm so sorry. I have to pack." She left. Bai and Kate looked at each other. "Well," Bai said, "looks like you and me are in for a time." Kate looked at the stove. "What are you cooking?" "A casserole. You like it?" "What is it?" "You don't know what a casserole is?" Kate shook her head. "What do you eat?" "Spaghetti, mostly." "Well then," Bai said, "you're in for quite a treat. You speak funny. That's because I was born in France. I can teach you a few words of my language if you like. You can impress your friends with your command of français." "What?" "Français," Bai said. "It's French for French." "What's French for Kate?" "Kate," Bai said. "Oh, most of the other words are different," he assured her. "You will sound very sophisticated." "Okay." She smiled a little. "I think I am hungry now." Kate set the table over dinner. They talked about French classes. Kate wouldn't believe that France would have 500 types, and she asked Bai to name them. He struggled to get past 10, and anyway she accused him of making up French cheeses. "It's real," Jennifer said, coming into the room. "I've seen it myself." Kate didn't say anything. Jennifer looked up at Bai, and he noticed again how tired she looked. "Thanks so much for this. I'll call as soon as I can." "Sure." She squatted beside Kate. Kate stared at her plate. "You know I don't want to do this, right? As soon as I get back, you and me will go down to the dog shelter the minute I get back." "Yes, Mommy. I love you so much." I said, "Do you need help with your bag?" She looked up. "Think so. My shoulder's a lot better." She kissed Kate then on the cheek. "I'm sorry, I really have to run. Have a good trip. Thanks." She dragged her suitcase out of the front door. Bai played with the sport. Kate stared up at her empty plate. When Jennifer had invited him over, this was not how Bai had envisioned the evening. "Okay," he said. "Should we see what's in the freezer for dessert?" Kate sniffed. Bai realized she was crying or about to. He felt panic. "Hey!" He rose and went over to her, feeling awkward. What did he know about kids? Nothing. "She'll be back before you know it, I'll bet." Kate's lip was trembling. Her eyes were filling. Bai didn't know what to do. When she reached out for him, he hugged her. Her tiny arms felt strange about his neck, strange and nice. He stroked her hair. "You are a very brave girl." He held her for a long time until she stopped trembling. "Some dessert now?" he said, and felt her nod. 49. The Gap. Everyone was very worked up when Hack arrived at the parking lot. "Have you seen the news?" Liesel demanded. Liesel had green hair and heavy makeup. Her main beef was with genetically modified food, but she was basically willing to stick it to anyone who was making a lot of money. "What news?" Hack said. "They shot some people. One company went in and shot some people from another company. It's like organized crime. It's like the mob." "Oh, wow," Hack said. "No, I hadn't heard." He wondered if Nike was involved. "That's why tonight is so important," Thomas said. Thomas was the youngest, just a kid really. He hated inequality, like how only rich people got to ride first class in airplanes. "Right, Hack?" "Right," Hack said. "Hi, Claire." "Hi." She smiled. Her breath fogged in the night air. "You still want to go ahead with this?" "Hell yes," Hack said. "Bring it on." He wondered if he should make a little speech. "Hey," Thomas said. Thomas was pretty excited. Hack guessed they all were. "Well, we're all set," Liesel said. "I've secured the guy ropes. Anytime you're ready." "Okay." He wasn't totally confident about Liesel, so he checked the ropes himself. It was 6 stories to the ground. Hack didn't want to find out halfway down, but Liesel had used hemp rope or something. "Let's do it." On the side of the parking lot was an enormous billboard, on which a model advertised stretch pants for the Gap. The model was 4 stories tall, but her arms were like sticks. He and Claire were going to go down and spray paint a speech bubble that said, "Feed me." They got dressed up and stood together on the ledge. Claire's cheeks were red from the excitement or the cold. Hack didn't know. She took his hand. "I can't believe we're doing this. Mom's away," Hack said, and stepped over the edge. The street 60 feet down swung out before them. His head spun. His body screamed out for him to get vertical. "What are you doing, Hack? You don't do things like this," but Hack was doing it. He started to get the knack of it and pushed off from the side, then swung back. It was kind of fun. Soon he was rappelling down the billboard in great leaps. He stopped when he reached the model's neck and looked up. Claire was still edging down. "You okay?" "Yes." He blew on his hands to keep them warm. Hack was getting a pretty good view of the Punt Road shopping strip from there. The traffic looked like a metal river. He wondered what the drivers made of him and Claire. Claire slowly made her way down. "What are you, some kind of stuntman, jumping and leaping like an idiot?" He grinned. "It's fun." She smiled, studying him. "You know I'm proud of you." "What?" "I thought you'd be moping around feeling bad about Violet. I'm impressed. You're doing great." Violet and me were never such a great couple, but Claire was right, of course. The old Hack would be inconsolable about being dumped, bitter about being left behind, while Violet enjoyed her new success overseas. But this wasn't the old Hack. This was the new, improved Hack. "Good for you." Claire popped the lid from the spray can and started on the speech bubble. She was concentrating hard, her tongue poking out the side of her mouth. Hack smiled. He opened his mouth, and what it popped out was, "I loved you first, you know." Claire looked at him, startled. "What? What?" She lowered the spray can. "Tell me." "I was in love with you," Hack confessed, "before Violet." "Really?" "Yeah. But I was sweet on you. I kept waiting for you to ask me out, but you never did." "I didn't know you were." He felt embarrassed. "I didn't know you liked me." "How could you not know? I made it so obvious. You met my parents." "Yeah, that was when he'd met Violet," Hack remembered. "The dinner with Claire's family. I guess I just couldn't believe it." Claire smiled and turned back to her spray painting. "What's so hard to believe?" "Well, you know, you're so..." He hesitated. She looked at him. "So what?" "Curious," Hack said. Claire laughed, and the sound bounced around the parking lot. Hack felt happy. "You're an idiot." "Was an idiot. And what does that mean?" "It means I wished I'd asked you out," he said. He gave Claire's arm a playful push, but of course she was hanging from a rope, and she gasped in surprise and grabbed at him. Hack lost his footing and swung into a wall. He hit it awkwardly, and his breath escaped in a gasp. Then Claire crashed into his back, and they were both hanging against the freezing concrete. He twisted around and got hold of Claire. "Oh, crap, are you okay?" "Are you trying to kill us?" Claire said, but she was starting to laugh. "No, I swear." Her lips were inches from his, and it was too close, really. There was nothing he could do about that. He kissed her, and she kissed him back. It felt like something bursting free. He heard someone whimper and didn't know if it was him or her. "Hey!" Liesl shouted. "You guys all right down there?" He broke the kiss. He and Claire were breathing fast, fogging the air between them. "Yes," Hack called. "Everything's fine."